The Burning Crusade, an expansion with an edgy purple elf telling players they were not prepared since 2007. But weren't prepared for what? I had to know. I made my way through a lot of zones in classic WoW, got myself up to level 60, and been through the trials of walking a million miles back to Blackrock depths after wiping. It was now time. Time to arrive at the foot of the Dark Portal itself, with its green, glowy ooze that I would honestly be scared to touch, just to see what awaited me. It was the first expansion. What did you expect? Hi there, I'm MegaMadVlad, and I'm on a journey to experience classic World of Warcraft's various batches of content, from the base game before Cataclysm to the Burning Crusade and onward. You see, I wasn't able to play WoW back in the day during all these various launches. I actually started, in one of the most casual ways, back during Battle for Azeroth, and dabbled a bit here and there since. But Classic was always there, in the back of my mind. Sure, I got to experience retail WoW in a few different forms, but I knew there was a lot that was changed in how the game played and felt since its old days. So one day, I decided to start it up and make my way through the base game and the expansions. Sure, I'm not on content right now, but I was mostly here to experience the game in its zones, to see what I missed. Maybe not day and date with the classic launches, but close enough. It's not like I'm one-shotting everything that's 5 levels under me anyway. But anyway, I was looking forward to finally hopping into Outland and seeing what kinds of shenanigans I could get into. To see all of the zones I've never been to and what the story is like. Okay, alright. I just skipped all the dialogue. Am I a true WoW gamer now, guys? The only caveat with doing this is that I can only be in the expansion until level 70. Once I hit that, the character is ready for Northrend. This adds a bit of a challenge. I don't get to experience every single quest in the expansion, but that just means I get to journey through all of the zones with a select amount of levels for each one. When I hit a certain level, it's on to the next zone. Just have to be careful I don't hand in too many quests at once. Alright, without further ado, here's the summary of my journey into the Burning Crusade. It was a dark and stormy night. I, the great shaman troll Vladithar, was on my way through the Blasted Lands when I spotted it. The dank portal. I snatched up a quest to head into lands never before seen, except by everyone else before me. And all these guys. Go on, shoo! As I RP walk through the portal, I remember that I need to go back and collect a friend of mine. We're gonna journey together. This'll go well. Onward! Whoa, cool skybox. All right, time to go. This first zone is called Hellfire Peninsula, and boy does it look like it was cleansed in hellfire. Look at that road paved with bones. What nice people that live here. Following a short quest line, we take a flying mount over to Thrallmar, a camp of unworthy war veterans that stay in one place for the entire game. Snatch up a few more quests and it's go time. Time to explore this new world, its forgotten lands, and oh, that's a lot of enemies right there. Questing along, my friend Megara, the brave and courageous DK Yoinker, keeps snatching up enemies to slay. Not like they were doing anything anyway, just walking around menacingly. Suddenly, we spotted the biggest enemy I've ever seen. Standing 10 stories tall was the fabled Fell Reaver itself. Somehow it looks like a machine, but also demonic. Don't know how that works. We'll be back for you soon. Just you wait, my precious. Time to continue. We keep working on quests in the zone and ended up doing a cool aerial attack from above quest. Just click and boom. Easy peasy. What's not to love? At one point while questing, Megara and I were walking by that spot where the metric ton of enemies were at. Then Meg got caught up in the world's longest stun lock. Every meteor just kept stunning her. Truly, the journey was over. Oh, hey, she's free. Let's go on. So at one point, we came across a bit of a confusing quest. It was called the Eyes of Grillock. I noticed there was a green gem to use when I spotted one of the green eyes. I used the gem on the eye and voila! I am now fused with the eye with a side effect being I aggro everything within a certain range now. So I saw the 4-minute timer, but I didn't know what I needed to do here. I ran into a cave to take down a shaman there named... Oh, hold on. I aggroed someone. Alright, now that he's done, where was I? Oh yes, trying to take down Grillock himself to see if that would complete this step of the quest. As it turns out, that did nothing. I still had the effect on me with no idea what to do. With time having run out, I decided to try figuring it out. Not like I couldn't get another eye and then complete it in a bit anyway, right? Turns out, all you need to do is take that eye buff with you to the place where you got the quest, a nearby camp. Having just figured that out, I now just needed to find the eye again. Boy, was I in for torture I never thought possible. You see, there are two eyes. Makes sense when you think about it. So there's 2 eyes that can spawn in. The tricky part is they seem to take forever to respawn. You then have to couple in the fact that you may not be the only one working on this very quest, as well as randoms that happen by that may just end up fighting it themselves. That means you then have to wait again. Not to mention, I was doing this with a bud of mine, so we each took to our sides and waited, and waited, and waited. The hours were flying by. Nothing. And then finally, one appeared. It was go time. No, wait, stop! Oh, back to waiting. So at one point, my friend has to go AFK for a little bit. So it was up to me to watch over them while they let their puppy out. So protect them I did. All manner of enemies would spot them, and I would take them down without a second. I got the eye buff again. Yeah. All right, the timer was on. My friend was still AFK while I had the buff, but it was 5 minutes. Clearly, they would be back in that time, right? Oh yeah. All the while, now I'm attracting every enemy with legs because of this buff. Oh, this is getting pretty spicy right about now. 4 minutes turns to 3. 3 to 2. Still no sign of my friend. I contemplate leaving them and heading to complete the quest. But what if they... Oh my god, they're back. It's go time. Immediately hopping on my mount. I have just over 30 seconds to get there, aggroing everything as I make my way there. Come on. Come on. I didn't make it. Back to square one. All right, let's head back. Oh my god, the eye. Come on. No, I'm stunned. And it disappeared. My life is meaningless. I don't even know what to do. Not helping, Meg! Thankfully, I eventually found the eye again, snatched up the buff, and immediately hightailed it out of there faster than a toddler who got something they shouldn't have. Found the cauldron, and finally, it was over. I could finally move on with my life now. So my friend and I went back to questing. We were hunting some boars when it found us. The white whale itself. Run! Okay, it passed us by. Oh my god, it's turning! Curse you, Bill! So, after reaching level 62, we decided to end our time in Hellfire Peninsula with the nearby dungeon, Hellfire Ramparts. Now, while I did end up accidentally getting this dungeon in the last video, that didn't count. This was here and now, and it's my journey. So let's do this. We queued up, got in, and it was go time. This time, I had slightly better gear, so then I didn't end up dying as much as the first time I was here. Taking down the mobs, finding the bosses, and taking them down too. Everything was moving along smoothly, and then we won. What, did you think something bad was gonna happen? Of course not. That's a few dungeons from now. So with the dungeon finally completed, it was time to move on to the next zone, Zangarmarsh. A very dark, mushroomy kind of forest with lots of water. Honestly, the whole zone went by pretty uneventfully, except that one time I was turned into a bird. But let's move on. We then went to Terokkar Forest, and oh boy, this one's a doozy. We find the fabled Shatrath city and head right in. Naturally, this place has quests, so I grabbed them at random. Wait, Meg? Why are you running away? As it turns out, this quest is straight up torture. You want a tour of the city? How about you get a tour guide that says, this won't take long? But that was a lie! It took almost 10 minutes of this thing floating around, stopping occasionally, sometimes saying something all around the city. All the while, Megara was busy having a drink and laughing at my misfortune. You know what? I think I'll join her on that. Getting so blasted, everything is fuzzy. What? Yo, who jacked my stuff? Oh god, I'm under attack! So after I got back to Terokkar Forest, we ended up queuing for 2 dungeons. First was Blood Furnace, nothing really of note, standard dungeon experience. But next up was the Slave Pens. We got through the entire dungeon fine, but once we got to the final boss, who rose up out of the water like Godzilla, it turned into a clusterfuck. The boss was going down really fast, but then all of a sudden, 4 of us straight up died. Megara was the only one still alive to take down the beast. Thankfully, she succeeded, but holy crap did that acid breath hurt. The rest of Terokkar went off without a hitch, though I did become an orc temporarily. Right after this, I ended up accidentally taking a break because the War Within had just dropped, so I hopped into that for a while. Come on, come on. No, no, no! Wait, not like this! Yeah, I think it's time to head back into TBC. So anyway, I hit level 65. Then it was time to move on to Nagrand. Now, compared to the previous 3 zones, Nagrand was the most inviting with how it looked. Lush green grass, floating islands, cool skybox, and enemies riding elephants crossing a rope bridge that we ended up taking out along the way. How that bridge didn't collapse under the weight of those elephants? Who knows? So Nagrand had quite a few quests to take advantage of after we raised our reputation with the Mag'har orcs anyway. One of these quests ended up leading us to a certain location called the Ring of Blood. Naturally, we had to partake. With it being only the two of us, we wanted to see how far we could get. First enemy, easy peasy. Bring on the next guy. Oh, it's two guys called the Blue Brothers. I see what you did there. We lost! Alright, how about we focus one down and then take on the second one? We got one! Oh, Mega's down. I repeat, Mega's down! I went down too. Geez, these guys are tough. Let's go quest some more in the zone and level up. So after leveling up to 66, we went back to fight the Blue Brothers and see how we would fare a bit stronger this time. Lo and behold, we lost again. We fought a few more times and victory still eludes us. Alright, while I'm ashamed to admit defeat, we have to move on. Back to questing around Nagrand when my friend just up and left me to go flying. At one point, we were trying to get down a mountain. We tried going down a bit of a steeper slope than we imagined. 5% HP left, baby! And Megara survived too. Achievement get. Then it was off to the Blade's Edge Mountains. Get to Blade's Edge Mountains, quest for a bit, then queue up for the Underbog dungeon. Since I was level 67 already, that just means 3 more levels until I have to stop. With 3 more zones to explore, we were set to speedrun mode, 1 level per zone. We had a mage that was pretty much leading us the way we needed to go, so that was interesting. I also fell over randomly at one point. No idea how that happened, but it was yet another dungeon that went off without a hitch. Hop out, turn into a flying red orb, and reach level 68. Goodbye, Blade's Edge Mountains. I hardly knew ye. The next 2 zones were both the same level range, Shadowmoon Valley and Netherstorm. I decided to go to Shadowmoon because Netherstorm was literally floating rocks. Wasn't sure how that was going to work. Now, the trip to Shadowmoon Valley was like you were actually walking into a demonic hellscape. The sky was green, enemies littered the area, and the Horde was fighting them off as best they could. Definitely looked like an endgame zone. Holy hell, there are a ton of quests here. Ran a few of those and queued up for the Sethic Halls dungeon. We got in, started running through, then the healer got kicked, and then we died. Then we won with just the 4 of us. What a roller coaster. Who would have thought that having your healer get kicked would actually lower your chances of success? And the run back to the dungeon was pretty confusing. Still beat it though. Shortly after we were finished with the dungeon, I had to head back to Orgrimmar quickly because apparently Blizzard thought it would be cute to turn Joyous Journeys back on. I had no idea until Megara informed me of this. Talked to the innkeeper, turned that crap off, then tried searching for the portal to the Blasted Lands. I came across a guard and asked them where the portals were at. They lied to me. Eventually found the portal and made it back to Outland. It was time to get back to Shadowmoon Valley so I could level up and move on to Netherstorm. Grab some more quests, beat up a 2-headed demon dog thing. Sit, Fido. Good. And eventually hit level 69. Nice. Farewell, Shadowmoon. I have a date with Netherstorm. Somehow. Seriously, it's a bunch of floating islands and I can't fly. How do I? Oh, there's a bridge. Awesome. Now that we've officially arrived in Netherstorm, boy oh boy does this also give off endgame zone vibes, just like Shadowmoon Valley. We found a camp called Area 52. It was very fitting to have me almost get abducted by aliens as I walked in. Naturally, new zone meant new quests to grab. Worked on a bunch of those, and I was actually given a show to watch about a goblin who had something blow up in his face. Starting to feel like that's just on brand with goblins at this point. Wait, what? Dr. Boom? Oh, he's got a lot of HP. All right, let's take him on. We died. Since we have this big old button right here, let's just take him out that way. Success. Whoa, that's a huge dome. What's inside? This dying zone lied to me. Hey, you know what? I'm about to hit level 70. I think I know exactly what I want to tip that over the edge. Something I've been putting off for a little while now. I think it's time to finally take down the Blues Brothers. After all, I have a bone to pick with them. Now that we're powered up with better gear and a higher level, we shouldn't have too much of an issue now, right? Victory achieved! All right, let's hand in that quest and finally hit level 70. It didn't level me up. Oops. Okay, since these guys were such a pain to fight against, how much tougher will the next guy be? They were actually easy. Hand in the quest.
Stay away from them.
Am I a joke to you? All right, last guy. Let's go. And they were even easier? Is it the level? The gear? No, it can't be. It's just been all downhill since the Blues Brothers. Nothing makes sense anymore. Oh well, thank you for that. Because I finally hit the fabled level 70. This is the moment when I would need to end this. But there's just one more thing I've had on the back burner. Figured it was time to celebrate by doing this. Come in, Megara. Come in. I see him. The white whale has been spotted. Charge! Oh yeah. Very cathartic. No, 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 not like this! And that about wraps that up. I honestly wasn't expecting my journey from 60 to 70 to be a long one. It's one of the reasons I didn't want Joyous Journeys active at any point. Figuring out how many levels to get in each zone was definitely a challenge, and I still ended up with a speed run of 1 level per zone by the end of it. Even running dungeons put quite a bit of strain onto that challenge, but I absolutely wanted to experience those. When I did the dungeons in the base game, I would queue up with randoms. This allowed me to experience a lot of them overall. My thoughts on those earlier dungeons were pretty average. It was fun to play in a group of people, but nothing really stuck out to me. Random mobs were just there to be fodder, and I expected that, but a vast majority of the bosses were just bigger mobs with more HP. When I accidentally queued into Hellfire Ramparts in the previous video, I had a ton of fun with it. It felt a bit more streamlined, but the bosses felt like they had more personality as well as unique mechanics for the first time. Since I only had the base game dungeons to compare to it, it was far and away better. I thought to myself, if this is what only the first dungeon of Burning Crusade had to offer, I would have a lot to look forward to. Well, they ended up feeling similar to the base game dungeons the more I did. While I didn't end up playing through all of them, mainly because of the level 70 restriction, I can only hope I didn't miss the best ones because of this. Hopefully Wrath of the Lich King's dungeons are better. So as far as zones go, there's 7 of them. I enjoyed how different they all were from each other. Outland is basically a floating rock itself, isn't it? The art direction the devs took with this expansion was actually great. I loved all the really spacey skyboxes in all the zones. From that first step into Hellfire Peninsula to the demonic scorched earth look of Shadowmoon Valley. They absolutely outdid themselves for the time this was made. I do wish I did this on content so I wouldn't have the level 70 restriction, but alas, I was too late to the party. I do hear that you can still run the raids at level 85 in Cataclysm and not absolutely decimate everything like you can in retail just by being 5 levels higher. I would just need friends. But that was my overall journey and experience in a nutshell. Since this was my first time actually trying out the very first expansion in World of Warcraft, I didn't know what to expect. Having played a lot of Final Fantasy XIV and Guild Wars 2, this was going back in time further than either of those games, but I did enjoy my time in it. Got a total of 21 hours through all of it. Not a ton of time, of course, but enough for a single journey. With that said, up next in Classic WoW is the biggest expansion launch in WoW history, Wrath of the Lich King. Very excited to see how that plays out. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. My name is MegaMadVlad, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Adios.